Hello and welcome to the NDTV Dialogues, a conversation of ideas. Who better to discuss ideas with than a man who through his movies, through his politics, has looked at issues and not about the controversy of the day. Kamal Haasan, thank you very much for being part of the Dialogues.
Thank you.
You have a new release coming up, but who is the Kamal Haasan I'm talking to today? Is he the actor? Is he the politician? Who is he?
Who do you want to talk to? Both are available.
Both then.
Both are at your service. Tell me.
When you make films today, you've come into it now from background of a novice in politics. How does that influence your film of today? How does it influence Vishwaroop 2? How does it influence what projects you're looking at now?
See, Vishwaroop 2 is terra firma for me. Vishwaroop 1, 2, that's the ground I've been treading on since I can remember, from 3.5 years old. So this is my 58th year. Come this 12th August, it'll be the 58th year exactly when my first film was released in 1960. So that is terra firma, and I know I'm not infallible, but I know that I can do some things right also sometimes. So that part is, I'm very confident, and I'm not. But the nascent politician you're talking about is probably the USP that people are looking for, because they want me to be nascent, they want me to be naive to the ways of the old politics, and they know that I'm right earnest and I'm here to challenge the status quo. So they want a voice like that, and they want that voice to be as it is, not mingled with age-old wisdom, which is actually not wisdom at all.
So you describe yourself as an idealist and an idealist politician?
Yes, I call myself the politiculturist, neo-politiculturist. I know it's pompous, but somewhere somebody has to start.
And many, of course, and with that comparison point to Arvind Kejriwal, who also came in perhaps as a new politician, a different kind of politician people hadn't seen before. But in Tamil Nadu, at least, people have seen the actor politician. How will you be different from that mold?
Even as an actor, I dare to be different, which is not what the dictats of the commercial cinema tell you. They demand absolute obedience to the mercantile world of cinema. I have been that rebel, that voice which stood for aesthetics and lived to tell the story, and that too in affluence and wealth. And that is because the people agreed with the vision. And the businessmen are always looking for an idea that could be run off the treadmill. I refuse to run on the treadmill. I want a free run. And people also prefer to do that. That disconnect between the actual consumer and the creator is because of the middlemen. All businesses suffer because of middlemen, but all businesses get enhanced because of middlemen. So it's a balance that we have to, check and balance that we have to maintain.
But so many of our films, especially in the later years, have been intensely political. Why is that? Even in Vishwaroop 2, in a sense, the theme is political, and many have pointed to the fact, interestingly, that your hero is also Muslim.
Yes. So, but I felt...
Was that a choice, or it was just...
It's a choice. It's a choice. In the sense, I want to represent... artists have this duty to sensitize, not sensationalize, but sensitize the collective conscience. And I think I have a great responsibility. I realized it even in my younger age, in my 20s. Slowly it dawned on me that I have a very great responsibility of sensitizing that. How I do it depends. I mean, one does it, Woodstock does it differently, a stand-up comedian does it differently, Woody Allen does it differently. And Francis Ford Coppola does it differently. And he sensitizes America through making the life story of Don Vito Corleone, which is about a mafia chief. But he sensitizes America in a good way. He's talking about the underworld, but the upper crust is whom he is actually sensitizing to.
So what were you looking to sensitize India to in your movie?
That this country will have this woven fabric of various diverse ideas and religion. That my flag looks beautiful in all its tricolors. That one color cannot be allowed to permeate my flag.
You've talked so often of the fact that you're an atheist. You don't believe in God. Yet God and religion seems to have become center stage of our discourse nowadays. How do you see that?
It's always been there. The age of reason comes, and then the age of religion takes over. It keeps going. I only like to quote Carl Sagan, where he says the human mind is work in progress. That is why we have disruptions like poetry and religion, because we are not yet a complete work. Human brain is work in progress. That's why we have aberrations like religion, is what he said. And I tend to agree with him a bit on that, yes.
And for a politician, you still speak your mind, which most politicians seem to learn after they've spent a few years. You, of course, are still new. But in Tamil Nadu, especially when we talk about controversy, and again, you're back because of the whole clash that the release of your first film had with then Chief Minister. Then you made some, people have interpreted some comments of yours as saying that she's a dictator and people are against you for that. How, you're a child of controversy in many ways. How do you deal with these?
No, controversy is something we can't, that way shaking the lion's mane is controversy.
And it's dangerous, yes.
So, I mean, you can't be scared of the lion all the time. However big a Victorian lion it is, you still have to shake its mane. And that's what he did. And we've seen the same affected parties, like I think Justice Bloomsfield or something. The judgment that he gives Gandhi looks like an encomium rather than a sentence. So we have seen that thing. That gives me courage to speak against however big the power, whoever be the empress. You can talk, and we must talk earnestly, honestly, and for the people. Not because your ego is injured. In this case, I did not fight for my ego. I fought for my rights. And justice prevailed.
So do you think, now when I asked you about actor politicians and how you'll be different, you said you're always different in your movies, but how is your politics going to be different, especially in Tamil Nadu, which has now traditionally been Dravidian politics, AIADMK versus DMK. There hasn't really been space for a third alternative as such except caste-based. How do you think Kamal Haasan, who's not focusing to a caste, not focusing to a religion, not focusing to a vote bank, what will you offer?
Progress is what I want to offer, and progress is what I want for my state. And progress is what has been impeded by avaricious, self-serving politicians, whatever ilk, whatever you call them. And I don't think Dravidian, the rights of the Dravidian copyright cannot be held by 3 or 4 parties. I truly believe that it's an anthropological description of a race, and Dravidianism is pan-national. I'm repeating it again. The Dravidian, it's a description about a people, and it's pan-national. It transcends language. It's all over India. So that's what I'm talking about. My Dravidianism is about what exists all around India. And I'm talking about the majority crowd. I'm talking sensible number politics also, while I talk about my nation.
And what's interesting also that you have made the point of the larger southern states as well, and the whole, the current Indian setup where somehow it's very Delhi-centric, Delhi-controlled. How do you think that will change, and why do you think that the southern states need to be speak more about their share?
Because we promise it in our constitution, and that's why the promise has to be kept, and for which you cannot keep blaming Delhi. We have to work towards it, because the constitution it's very robust and helpful. And we've not exercised most of the rights. We've only found loopholes and footnotes that we could play around with, read between the lines rather than the lines. And now the time has come when the federal aspect of the country could be emphasized upon, underlined, reiterated, and it's happening naturally. We are not talking about just alliances. I'm talking about the synergy that the fallout of it will be only progress if that synergy is positively used. This vicious circle will have to be disrupted, and it must be made into a virtuous cycle. And that's this very simple, and it's something we could all aspire for, and not blame the politician, because he didn't land up from Mars. He's from our streets. That he very strongly resembles us in his corruption is not an accident.
And you made that point that voters sell their vote for small amounts, and you believe strongly this has to be anti-corruption by both sides.
Yes, it is anti-corruption, and what kind of a sham they signed this Lok Ayukta bill, the very purpose of saying that let's have a lock. And you say that, yes, here's a lock, but it's free-flowing lock, it's just a hook, not a lock. You cannot lock anything with it. And there are many sets of keys, and we'll have one. And that's not Lok Ayukta bill. We must sign the Lok Ayukta bill. I will insist that any party who comes in will have to make that promise to me.
It's interesting you said that about a federal structure, because at this time, currently, of course, we have a BJP government at the center. There's a lot of talk about, one nation, nationalism. It's about talking one language. And there's been some tension, of course, in Tamil Nadu and Karnataka about Hindi signs coming up. This has been a traditional sore point between, say, Tamil Nadu and even Karnataka and others about this language chauvinism, which often we see imposed from the north about Hindi. How do you deal with it with the new kind of politics where the focus is more on uniformity, on one kind of nationalism?
I think trying to level out all the differences is unnatural. You cannot, because there will always be, you'll have to reduce the number of poor people. That's the best leveling you could do. Nobody thinks of that. They are talking about a country without that party, country without this party. Our first priority should be country without poverty. And that should be the enemy, not an opposition party, because both parties are, the idea of democracy is that both are debating, disagreeing, so that they get to the right answer of building the nation. That decorum is lost now. I have to keep reminding, it looks like I'm unnecessarily doing salams to Gandhiji and Ambedkar, but that's not what I'm trying to remind them that this is a great tradition that we are missing out. Ambedkarji had caustic criticism to offer Gandhiji, but when it comes to nation building, he takes his bidding and goes about it as if he is his leader. That clarity should come to the neo-politician. That's where I said politiculturist. We just have to remind them, because we already have it in the DNA, the political DNA of India.
Are you willing then to work with, ally with anyone? When you first came into politics, there were sarcastic comments made by M.K. Stalin as well about paper flowers have no fragrance, to seen as a reference to perhaps you and Rajnikant, who hadn't entered then. Are you willing to work with anyone, even those who have criticized you in Tamil Nadu?
No, but it's very important that the the baggage they carry, people will remember. So it's very important that we go towards a new era, for which it's very important the ideology and the criminality will have to be checked. Due diligence has to be done by the people.
Are you talking about corruption charges against both DMK and AIADMK?
Yes. They both have it on that. What are they going to do about it? See, I'm not saying that that's it, you're finished, you're tarnished. This is not an Agni Pariksha, this is not Ramayana, this is politics. So you can't have an Agni Pariksha. That's not what I'm saying. But still, introspection is necessary now. If there is a question and due diligence, what are you going to do about it? If those changes are not made, then you're not earnest about it. So Lok Ayukta bill, the real Lok Ayukta bill should be signed, not this way this assembly has signed it.
You said, of course, in earlier interviews that Rajinikanth and you haven't really worked together in films, so why now? You're on different paths. But in a sense, if you think Tamil Nadu needs you, and many have talked about the vacuum in Tamil Nadu politics, is there any sense of a larger alliance, or why do you think that both of you are on different paths?
Because of the ideology. I still don't know what his ideology is. It's a vague hint. I'm clearly stating it, and we are working on a manifesto, because not because we have to tell people. Very few critics ask for what is your manifesto. You've not told it. One way of countering it is saying, have you been doing this carefully before that you ask for a manifesto now? Have you looked at all the manifestos and made your selections before? Why me? But that's a silly way to, we will get our manifesto there. Probably try to select from this buffet available, because there are some parties who have done some extraordinary work with their manifesto. DMK is one of them. Patali Makkal Kachi's manifesto, Communist Party manifesto. They're all fantastic manifestos to look at as a primer to what we want to do. And we are doing that. And we have people sitting in Harvard commenting on it. There are people working here, collecting data, and we are right earnest. We said 180 days. I think we might be slightly delayed, but we will be there.
Also, in fact, since you have entered politics recently, people have pointed out that sometimes some of the statements made, like for instance the Sterlite agitation, that on the one hand, when you spoke out and condemned what happened in this town, and then we saw others coming out, including spiritual leaders, interestingly, and even Sadhguru, saying the fact that look at what Sterlite is bringing for the progress of Tamil Nadu, and people are just making knee-jerk statements for votes. How would you react to something like that?
See, any product that is going to make the nation great, or that will make us the biggest copper wire sellers in the world, all that is fine, but not at the cost of my people. Any people. I say mine with propriety and with strength and conviction. They are my people. And you cannot do it at cost to their lives, even one life. And why is it that you have chosen a populated zone to make a factory? Why is it always on farmlands that you want to do these kind of things? Why don't you take these factories away to places where people are not? There are many places where they are not habitable. Find struggle. You want water, everything, convenience, port, all near you, and you're ready to kill people for it. Then I used to be very angry when an American senator made a statement in their Senate as to why Americans build toxic factories in the third world country and not in America. Would you do this in America? He said, no, it's not affordable. Because the cost of demurrages, if something goes wrong,
there's
so much more. So what he is ultimately doing is fixing a price on human life. It's cheaper in the third world. Human life is cheaper in the third world. What have we done in Thoothukudi is exactly underline that point.
Exactly.
Indian lives and Tamilian lives are cheaper.
No, that's a strong point. But just as we end also, as we go into politics, the 2019 general elections, everything seems to be about politics, and it's often now about divisions. You're either pro-Modi or you're anti-Modi. You're either in the opposition camp or you're with the NDA camp. How do you see? Where do you see yourself? Would you be pro-Modi or anti-Modi?
Mr. Modi is a man.
And the Prime Minister.
And the Prime Minister, but still a man. Prima facie, he is a man. That's how I'd like to look at it. So there's no use being anti-Modi. I want to be anti-ideology or pro-ideology. That's what we have to see. And this personality cult will have to go, be it Mr. Gandhi, Kamal Haasan, or Rajinikanth. We can't play personality cult. People should also stop doing that. I'm not pro-Modi, I'm not anti-Modi. I'm pro-country and progress.
And so when you met Rahul Gandhi, were there any talks of alliances?
No, we didn't yet go that far.
Finally, as I said, actors in India have this unique position of they don't belong to religion, they don't belong to caste, they are just loved across the country for their acting talent. As a politician, how can you actually do that? Because caste, religion are all key factors even in 21st century India.
No, we've had great politicians and giants who have set the path and blazed the trail for me. I just have to walk boldly in that path. Mr. Periyar has set the path. He fearlessly has tread the path and blazed the trail for us. Another has blazed the trail. Mr. Kamaraj has done it. And the path is open for anybody who dares walk the path, but avarice and personal aggrandizement has no place if you want to walk that path.
And of course, Tamil Nadu's politicians, their great legacies. And as we talk, great patriarch of DMK politics, M Karunanidhi. Would you like to say something about that? Because it's always this huge followings, the cults, the followers that Tamil Nadu politicians have been fascinating.
I always say that what happened in Tamil Nadu politics was not engineered, structured strategy. They were men of the hour. If Mr. Karunanidhi had not come into politics, somebody else would have. That was the need of the hour. It automatically happened, and they are part of the man of the hour. Mr. Periyar, Mr. Annadurai, Karunanidhi, they were all needed. The people were asking for it, and they were there. Tamil Nadu is fortunate that they were there. And Mr. Karunanidhi was there from his 19th year. And now it's 94. So what a career. Whatever criticism I have against him, that is
now past.
Different. That will still stay. But what he has done, I mean, is probably Mr. Basu Saab there and him is that kind of 5 times Chief Minister. And what kind of knowledge about people. Apart from that, I knew him not as a politician, but as a great writer.
Yes.
And in a way, from a distant, he is my vicarious Tamil teacher. I didn't know he was teaching me Tamil. Now I have to acknowledge, salute him for doing that for free, not only for me, but many, many actors. His Tamil has been useful, including Mr. Shivaji Ganesan has benefited from it. And these are talents and spirits that will haunt us.
Well, will Mr. Kamal Haasan now be the man of the hour? Let's see all the very best, sir, with the movie and, of course, with your political career as well. Thank you for joining NDTV. Thank you.